Have you ever been in a situation where you can't afford something at the store? You really, really want it, but your wallet is just a couple dollars short? Imagine your wallet being a couple dollars short of proper food and nutrition, an opportunity at achieving a higher level of education, a safe place to rest your head, or even the ability to access healthcare. Wealth not only affects access to societal wants, but can be a major factor in affording a human being's needs for survival. Affordable housing, nutrition, education, and healthcare are not items we can just leave on the shelf. They're impactful for personal well-being and need to be accessible for human forms regardless of one's bank account.
So to start this off, the first topic we want to talk about with access is food and nutrition. So I firstly want to throw out a question to everyone. How many times do you eat fast food a month? So in order to answer this question, I just would like everyone to raise your hands if this applies to you. So 1 to 2 times a month? How about 3 to 4 times a month? And then 5 or more times a month. Now that you've answered this question, think about eating it every day, because 32% of low-income people eat fast food every single day because it is all they can afford. Food is the most important resource for humans on this planet, and if we do not consume it, we die. For low-income residents, fast food is the only food source that they can afford, and that is why many low-income people are obese. Among the school districts, for every 1% increase in low-income status, there was a 1.17% increase in rates of overweight/obese students. According to the American Heart Association, the ideal diet includes lots of fruits, vegetables, nuts, whole grains, and fish, while minimizing sugar, salt, processed meats, and saturated fat. Yet, although there is a given ideal diet, many people are not able to achieve this. In fact, less than 2% of the population, 2%, is able to achieve this. Not only that, but 38% of low-income residents are able to eat an intermediate diet. High-income Americans are eating better than ever, swapping fruit juice for whole fruits, replacing refined grains with whole grains, and eating tons of nuts, while the low-income group has improved much more modestly. While there are many things that we could change to make healthy food more accessible for low-income residents, the two most important would be financing more farmer markets in low-income communities, and also certain health food prices more affordable for low-income people.
Second topic related to access is education. The growing educational gap became more apparent in the 1980s. The gap between the reading and math skills of the wealthiest 10% of kids and the poorest 10% was about 90 points on an 80-point SAT type scale. 3 decades later, the gap has grown to 125 points. The widening gap is largely due to differences in how well prepared children are for school before they enter kindergarten or even pre-kindergarten. In this era of economic inequality, wealthier parents have far more resources, both in terms of time and money, to better prepare their children to succeed in school and later in life. Young people from high wealth families, wealth being $223,500, are more than 1.5 times more likely to complete 2 years of college than those from low wealth families, wealth being classified as $2,000. So what can we do to lower this gap? Enroll younger, underserved children of the community in mentoring programs to give these children equal opportunities. Decrease the amount of in-state tuition, lower college loan interest, and provide more federal aid.
Okay, so the third topic we're going to cover is housing. The United States is facing an affordable housing crisis. Nearly 2/3 of renters nationwide say they can't afford to buy a home. This, for some, may be a surprise, but for others, not so much. Here are a few facts and numbers from the National Low Income Housing Coalition to give you a picture of the housing situation today. Over 500,000 people are experiencing homelessness on any given night, and 75% of all extremely low-income families pay more than half of their income on rent. There is no state or county where a renter working full-time at minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. This is a problem. Every state and every community is impacted. Each year, the shortage gets worse, and that's why people are homeless in our country and why families struggle to pay for groceries and visits to their doctors. There are solutions that will solve this problem, but we need the political will. First, we need to preserve and increase resources for federal affordable housing programs. When families have stable, decent, and accessible homes that they can afford, they are better able to maintain employment, perform better in school, and achieve improved health and well-being. Second, we must ensure that federal disaster recovery efforts are fair. One of the top priorities after a disaster is making sure that all displaced families have a safe, accessible, and affordable place to live while they get back on their feet. But too often, the housing of the lowest income peoples and their communities are overlooked. And third, we must promote equitable access to affordable housing. Evidence shows that access to stable, affordable housing in communities of opportunity has positive impacts. It can lead to better health and education outcomes and higher lifetime earnings, especially for children. So these are the reasons why everyone needs to step up and help end homelessness and housing poverty in America once and for all.
Imagine you're a sick individual who needs to see a healthcare professional, yet you are forced to choose between paying for this or providing for yourself or your children. That is the case for 38.1 million Americans because they live in poverty. People with low incomes tend to have more restricted access to medical care and are more likely to be uninsured or underinsured and cannot afford medicine and care. As a result, majority of individuals in poverty forgo needed health care or simply can't get it. People have spoken out, and in turn, the government has acted. Signed into law by President Obama, the Affordable Health Care Act was put in place on March 23, 2010. Under this act, the government established they would support those who fell within a certain range within the federal poverty line by making healthcare more affordable. Yet it was quickly discovered by our country that we have not solved this healthcare crisis at all. Now that more people are able to have access to insurance, the insurance they are receiving is often found inadequate and is even denied. Prices of medical care and medication are also rising as a direct result of more insurance being given out. 15 years ago, a patient with diabetes might have paid $175 for a 20 milliliter vial of insulin. Today, they pay about $1,500 for the same tiny vial. Our president has made some changes to this act by expanding those who can be granted health insurance under the act and eliminated penalties, but yet other problems still exist as well as these ones. There are other challenges not accounted for in this act. Those who experience poverty often don't seek medical care because they can't afford to do things such as miss a day of work or pay for a babysitter. They also have less access to safe and reliable health care due to where they live. The feminist side of this issue also needs to be addressed as well. On average, women are expected to need more health care over their lifetime than men. Yet this is challenged by the fact that women on average also make significantly less of an income than men do due to wage inequality, meaning women are more likely to forgo or not be able to receive necessary care. 43 countries in the world, including those who are less developed and financially stable than us, practice free and universal health care. This poses the question, why does America choose not to have a similar system in place? We believe within our country, the government should play a limited role in society, yet when we ask for help, I believe they should respond. People are dying. The second, the problem lies within interest groups within the business side of this healthcare issue. They value their profits and put their security above the lives of millions. In order to create change, we need to challenge the government to fund nonprofit healthcare facilities that are safe and successful no matter where you are. And we need to push for a new system to be put in place to save lives. This leaves the question, what can we do as activist leaders to help the gap in access between the poverty and the rich? We all have the power to make a change. For example, financing more farmers markets in low-income communities and also making certain health food store prices more affordable for low-income people will make a huge difference in the food and nutrition aspect of this. Nonprofits and changing the current healthcare system we have now is crucial for the well-being of health and for those in poverty. We need to push the government to make such changes. In order to see change, allies need to be created. Those who fall within the poverty line fight for these changes constantly, yet they need the support and privilege of those who don't. Our nation needs to change their image of individualism and help those who need it. We need to stand together as equals and progress social justice. Inequity kills and equality saves lives.
I would say the housing condition is, for the most part, deplorable, but without mobile homes, it'll be a lot of homeless people.
We had water damage, like they said we had a pipe that was in the wall that was loose. We sometimes keep our oven on if it circulates through the house. We need tighter loans to keep our lights from getting cut off, to get our water from being cut off. Right now, this is all we have.